Good Thursday afternoon, everybody. It's Jim, it's Sean, and Sean, last night we saw the NBA draft, and it was Vive la France, pretty much. I mean, it was the French wave. Three of the first 10 players came from France.
Yeah, it's interesting. Three of the first six, I think. It's clearly Wembyama,
Hmm.
coming in here and being as good as he was last year, has kind of shown that this French, this French wave here, is probably worth taking a shot on. I'll also be interested to see how this French team kind of in the world basketball develops over the next,
Hmm.
3 to 5 years here, because
Hmm.
they're going to be probably a force to deal with. But yeah, look, I mean, some of them are projects and
Hmm.
some of them aren't. They all have size. Saar obviously 7-footer.
Hmm.
I think these players are starting to um, kind of I don't want to say change the game a little bit, but these
Hmm.
big guys that can shoot a little bit and handle the ball. I mean, because Kevin Durant's been around, and
Right.
there's always been kind of those guys, but um, the game is clearly changing
Hmm.
somewhat. So yeah, it'll be exciting to see. Some of these guys. The one kid is just is 18. I mean, he's not going
Right.
to probably make. It'll be 2 or 3 years before he even starts to make an impact.
Right.
But it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think I think it's kind of what we saw with Kobe, right? I mean, he played in Italy and then went to high school in Philly and then went to the pros. And, you got to see him. I mean, he was a much more mature person than a kid just out of college. And I think that helped him. Now you got Tony Parker, who is over in France, putting this basically putting this factory of people together and creating this French connection to the NBA. And I mean, we saw that pretty much last night. The other thing that we saw, and it's not surprising to you and I, was Coach Hurley and some UConn guys going early.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the first player, the first all McDonald's All American at
Hmm.
Connecticut, and I think it goes back a little bit to why, you know, people were like, "Why don't you take the Lakers job?" And it's just like, I don't know, man. I mean, what are the Lakers going to be?
Hmm.
LeBron's not playing forever. They're just an average team. I mean, it's hard to go from mid, excuse me, mid table as it is to
Hmm.
you're almost better off being bad, so you get the better draft picks and the players and
Hmm.
stuff like that. But um, UConn, he's got his pick. He just won 2 titles in a row. He's going to get any player he wants now, forever.
Right.
He's close to where he grew up. He's an hour and a half
Hmm.
from maybe from North Jersey.
Hmm.
Um, it's he's going to be able, and he'll be getting more and more of these players coming in, and you'll start to see more UConn players getting drafted early.
Well, he's got an opportunity, and I think he's smart enough to realize it, to be the next successor to Krzyzewski.
Yeah, and I mean, college now, it's not the same. Look at the NIL. I mean, it's basically pro sports.
Right.
It is. I'm sure he's making a lot of money. I'm sure UConn's giving him a ton of money to stay.
Hmm.
Probably more than the public sector people in Connecticut make. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, it's interesting. And the thing about the draft, it's just the league. I mean, the season doesn't start forever.
Hmm.
NBA more so than some of these other things. I mean, hockey just ended, but it starts a little bit earlier.
Right.
Um, you know,
Starts around Halloween.
yeah, and basketball really doesn't start until November. So
Right.
You got a while to go. They have that summer league and stuff, and that's becoming more and more, I guess, popular and everything. People will watch that, but yeah, it's always interesting.
Well, I think the other thing too with the NBA last night that I enjoyed about, I don't like watching drafts. I mean, just it's ponderous, but they kept that thing moving last night, and picks were like flying in there, and they gave guys 5 minutes. So look, you got 5 minutes to make up your decision, and they made it work. I don't know why the NFL can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty crazy because I mean, I watched the draft, the NFL
Hmm.
draft, just because of the stuff that was going on.
Hmm.
Uh, some of the shows are doing, and I think they do. I mean, they just drag it out, forever, and I used to think of it. I'm like, why am I wasting 3 hours watching this? I can just wait to see who everybody drafted in the morning and just
Right.
just look at it. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Like I used to get up at 4 a.m. for the schedule release for the
Hmm.
Premier League, and I'm just like, I don't understand. The schedule's going to be the same no matter if I get up at 6 or 7 or 4 in the morning. So why not just
Right.
sleep? So
Go ahead and sleep. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I think for some of these leagues, for the NBA, it goes, this draft and then obviously the summer league. Look, if you're a big NBA head, there's nothing going on for 4 or 5 months. So, this is what you're going to probably watch, to get your fix of the NBA.
Yeah, I wondered why they hadn't pushed the draft to like right after the 4th of July, so they got something going on in July. Then they can go and have August working in the summer league, and then you go to camp sometime in September, and then you open a couple weeks after the NBA.
I think
I'm
they
sorry,
were
the
hoping the
NHL.
final. I think they were hoping the finals went a little longer, so it kind of
Yeah,
ran up to the
yeah,
run up to the
that would have helped.
yeah. That's it was funny because people were saying that both those series were looking like sweeps at the same time.
Yeah,
I'm like, man, that
yeah,
would be an absolute disaster for TV.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the Mavs got a couple calls in Game 4. It went to Game 5.
Hmm.
The Celtics, I think, were just too much better. They're just too good. But that the NHL, came back and went to Game 7, and Game 7 went. It was a tight game. So I'm sure that helped the ratings. So
Yeah, it was the best ratings for a final since 2012. So it was, you had a good, and it was a good game. So it was a 2-1 game, and you know, anything can happen in those types of games. And it's a game 7, and Florida walked away with it, and Canada has to wait another year to see what can happen.
I always remember if a series goes 4 games, it's a disaster for the TV networks because the
Yep.
ads. If it goes 5, they basically break even. If it goes 6, they make some money. If it goes 7, they make a lot of money. So
Yeah, I mean, it basically it gives whatever the network is, right? Let's say in this case it's ABC, ESPN. It gives them, um, you know, the opportunity to win a week of programming in, with viewership. And so that's the theory of the case. If you can push it to 5, that gets you into the next week. And if it goes to 7, that gets that ends up giving you about 2 weeks worth of uh,
that was the problem with the
program.
NBA.
Yeah,
I mean, Celtics ran through every series, and they just really kind of,
yeah, they smoked everybody.
some of these series were short, and then they got the, I always think too, you have that 10 days off or 8 days off between the
Right.
end, like, and it's just like people kind of lose interest a little bit, and then you
Hmm.
got to kind of suck them back in after,
Yeah,
a
got to
couple
go find them.
games.
Yeah,
Yeah, yep, 100%.
yeah. The speaking of going and finding them, this afternoon, the United States is playing a a pretty decent team, not a great team, but they got Panama this afternoon.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. I mean, Panama knows them a little bit from CONCACAF qualifying.
Hmm.
I wasn't super impressed with U.S. I went on um, TV last night in Washington and said basically, Uruguay. I think Uruguay beats them on Monday, whenever they play Monday or
Hmm.
Tuesday. Uruguay's obviously a better team, but
Hmm.
I need to see something from this U.S. team today. I just I've you've watched all these games. You watch the games yesterday. Portugal getting smoked. Uh,
Hmm.
they had already won the group, but so it's not that big of a deal. But Ronaldo is just they have a huge Ronaldo problem, and the U.S. has a problem with their 10. Who's going to play there? Where's the goal? Where the goal's going to come from if it doesn't come from Pulisic or something like this? So um, this game, I think is interesting. It's a test. I mean, they should win. They're favored pretty heavily. But they could struggle. And then obviously Monday is a bigger test against Uruguay.
Hmm.
We'll see kind of how they do there, but uh, not expecting a lot from this team once they get to the knockout stage. They're probably going to get matched up against a decent team in that first round, that round of the quarterfinals there. So,
Hmm.
I think they're in a little bit of trouble there. But we'll see. And then obviously the Euro bracket is, it's crazy how that bracket lined up. On one side is loaded, and the other side someone's gonna walk to the final.
You said yesterday that you thought that this might be for the long-suffering English fans. This might be, their tonic here. They might be able to stroll into a final.
If they don't get to the final, they should be embarrassed. To be honest, I mean, look, I mean the other teams on that side, Austria obviously win the
Hmm.
group, and Netherlands and Georgia, or sorry, Georgia's on the other side with Spain. Um, you got it's just Italy's there, but they're a shell of what they were.
Hmm.
England, and they just haven't been good. The coach has been awful. He's terrible lineups. He tries to you pigeonhole these guys into the lineup instead of just putting them where they should be. Like, look, just put Trent at right back and just put Kyle Walker at left back, and play, a little more attacking. But they just he wants to play the way he wants to play. Thank God he's not the Manchester United manager. I say that every day. He would have been terrible for us. Um, but yeah, I think watching these, the Euros are done basically during the day now until Saturdays around the 16th. So the focus goes to the Copa America and Uruguay, USA, Brazil tomorrow.
Hmm.
Who was not good in the first game. So yeah, it's you get a chance. I mean, now I think the spotlight. I think when these other, a lot of times the focus is on the Euros between
Hmm.
the two because obviously it's a bit more high profile. Well, now so that Brazil clunker didn't really kind of went under the radar a little bit. Well, now look, they're playing Friday night. Nobody else is playing. So if
Hmm.
they go out there and play really poorly again, there's
Hmm.
not really anywhere to hide. So we'll
Right.
kind of see what happens here.
It could be a mess. There's no question about it because Brazil hasn't played up to their capabilities for a couple of cycles now.
I don't. They're not that good. I mean, they're Ronaldinho and Ronaldo Nazario. I mean, look, they're just
Mhm.
saying, look, we don't even watch it. It's boring now.
Mhm.
A lot of people are blaming Pep for that. Um, Pep and Arteta, the kind of thing that's
Mhm.
kind of taken the. I mean, it's just so boring to watch. City, look, City wins titles. Obviously, they cheat to do it, but they're also boring to watch. I mean,
Mhm.
no one just wants to watch a game where people are passing, 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 knocking the ball around. They want to see these teams go for it. I mean, look at what Georgia did yesterday against Portugal. That game was wide open. The Austria Netherlands game wide open, like that's what people want to watch. I mean, it's not really kind of it's not it's not hard to figure out. And it's just you see these teams play, and I think that the teams that are going to obviously win that, England plays that boring. They're boring. They're boring to watch. They score 2 goals. I mean, they're not that good. I mean, France hasn't even been that good. So it's I think it's been the tournament so far. Both tournaments, Copa and the Euros, of these big teams underachieving. France is underachieved. Portugal's underachieved a little bit. In yesterday's game, they didn't. They didn't. They won the first game, but looked terrible. Had to do it in the 93rd minute. England's been atrocious. Argentina's been awful. Brazil was awful in the first game, even though they got robbed a little bit. On another day, maybe they score 4 or 5 goals, but it's just been tough to watch. And then you have teams like Austria who've been great to watch, and Georgia, who's Turkey, teams that I was excited to see. I'm excited to see these games. I would love to see the one side of the bracket be Turkey, Georgia, teams like that going through. Georgia plays Spain. I keep saying Georgia playing Spain, but Turkey, Austria, maybe some of these new teams kind of going through and doing something. I would love to. I think Austria has a decent play to maybe make a final. Look, I mean, they won the toughest group. They beat out Netherlands and France. So why not? Why can't they go to the final in that side of the bracket? At 20-1. I mean, worth a play, I think.
Well, and they're playing like they have house money, right? I mean, they've gotten the expectations. There was no expectations that they were going to win, so they have.
Ranky's a good coach. He's a very good coach. I mean, they have good players, but he's a very good coach.
But they play as a team, which is fantastic.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk now about one of your favorite subjects. We're getting ready for. It's not going to be that long before the Premier League starts back up. What's in your mind, as a longtime Manchester United fan and someone who's followed them, what do they have to do to become, a contender for the title this year?
This year's tough. I mean, look, they're bringing in Ruud van Nistelrooy and the Go Ahead Eagles guy. They're changing their staff around, which is good because I thought the coaching was terrible last year. The injuries were terrible. They got to get better players. I mean, they need to get better players. We got to see, they got to ship players out. I think that's going to start happening soon. Obviously, the transfer window will be open and going. I think you'll start to see stuff pick up here in the next couple weeks as teams start getting knocked out of Europe. I just, I think they have good players coming through. Obviously, Kobe Mainu, Garnacho, Højlund are young. Harry and Moss is coming. There's players coming. I still think they're 2 years down, 2 years away. I would love to see them kind of jump up here and maybe do something in the Europa League. The Europa League's different this year, obviously. No one gets dropped down from the Champions League. So we see. Maybe they got a chance there to win another trophy. They won 2 trophies in 2 years, so but they have to get better. They need more. They need better center backs. They need a better left back. They need better midfielders. They need better forwards. That's not going to happen in one window and 1 year. So it's going to take this summer, this winter, and next summer.
Have you circled a couple of players on your list that said, you got to start somewhere in building? So, as you say, to fill in those spots, have you circled a couple of people you'd like to see on the team coming up in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Jared Branthwaite could come. He's a very good midfield or good center back from Everton. I think that would be good. They need better center backs. they're looking at some of the left backs. They're trying to bring in Tadibo. They're fighting with UEFA about that because he's on Nice, and that's a parent club, or not parent club, but same owners. It looks like they're in for João Neves from Benfica. He costs a lot of money, so I don't know. Fofana from Monaco. They just need younger. They gotta get younger. Younger, talented players. Kind of what Chelsea was doing. Chelsea was a disaster until the end of the year last year, and I still, it's interesting because Chelsea plays Manchester City first week, and that I think that game will be very interesting to see because they do have a lot of talent, but they have a lot of. It's like they don't mesh. They started to mesh at the end of the year, I thought, but and they need. It's not going to happen overnight. Manchester City still, until Manchester City gets punished for their crimes, in November. Pep is going to leave. Jurgen Klopp has left. I think Liverpool's going to take a step back. I think you just got to be in prime position. You got to play well this. You got to start building this year so that when all these things fall apart next year, the City, Liverpool starts to fall back because they will. Because outside of Klopp in the last 20 years, it's not been great. So just be there and ready to go. I'm not sold on Tottenham. Newcastle, obviously, who knows with them? They were down last year, so just got to be ready to go. But yeah, it's got to start. They need to sell players too because I think there's too much of a like a losers mentality. And they won. Look, they won the FA Cup and they won the Community Shield. But I just think there's too many players in that team that are just not good enough, and wouldn't be anywhere near any decent teams.
Yeah, they don't have the right head set for it, right?
Yeah, you know what? These guys make too much. They're on too much money. Look, I mean, they're doing a good job here. They're clearing out. It's clear what they're doing. They got rid of Rafa Varane, who's making a lot of money. They're going to sell Casemiro, who's making a lot of money. They're going to sell. They're selling the players that are making a lot of the money because they want to get the salaries back under control. They want to skew younger. So, they got to get rid of some of these other guys that are making money here. And they just aren't really good enough. Third, fifth, sixth, third. It's not good enough. Trophies are good, though. I mean, look, they've been to the last two FA Cup finals. They really were in the one they lost. They just need to be, excuse me, they got to be better and ready to go when these other teams start to fall apart. But I do think, once again, they have some really good players coming through. So there's a potential for a core of players that are like in 2 years that are from like 22, 18 to 24, 6,
right.
8, 10 players coming through every year because they have the academy guys coming in that are going to build on and build the next great team. So I think it's not far away.
You've got young talent that can build you a generation of winner.
Yeah, that's right.
So patience is a virtue that sometimes is not, it's not exercised, but you can only do what you can do. And so we certainly will have plenty of time to see what plays out in the Premier League, which is, never a dull moment there.
And look, we're only 2.5 weeks out. I mean, the first Manchester United scrimmage is July 15th. It's the day after the Euros end, and then they have, I think, 5 matches in the following 3 weeks, and they have the Community Shield. So we're not far away from the start of the season.
Are they playing any? Is there going to be any Manchester United friendlies here in the States this summer, or is that not going to happen?
They're playing. Let me see. July 15th, they're playing in Rosenborg. Let's see. They play Rangers on the 20th. They play.
No, I mean,
there's 3 games here. They play Arsenal at SoFi on the 27th. They
Yeah.
play Arsenal on the 27th of July. They play Real Bet Real Betis at Snapdragon San Diego on the 31st, and then they play Liverpool at Williams Bryce Stadium in South Carolina on the South Carolina campus there on August 3rd, which is a Saturday, and then they got to come back because on August 10th they have the Community Shield at Wembley, so they
Right.
play Manchester City. So yeah, it's they'll be ramping up. They're playing in hot weather. They're playing that they're going to be based. Their sponsor is Snapdragon now, so they're going to play out there. They're probably going to be based
San
somewhere
Diego.
around San Diego for
Yeah.
those two games. I know they like it out there. It's warm. They can train in facilities and stuff like that. Warm weather training obviously optimal for getting in shape and stuff like that. So yeah, I think look, it's exciting time.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Do you have anything you want to promote? Anything? Because we got your links in the show box below. So
Yeah, we're doing. The app is coming along. We're going to be doing a show. If I don't know if people are watching, if you're in the area, in Mercer County in New Jersey, we'll do a show Saturday. We're going to be at Union Boyle, and that'll be a Thursday night, Sunday kind of thing during the season. Once the season starts, we'll get into a little more of a kind of rhythm there. But we're just going to be watching the games over there, so stop by if you're around. But yeah, just keep
watching.
keep watching. Obviously, we got college football shows and college basketball and all kinds of stuff coming up. So
There you go. All right, everybody, have a lovely day, and until tomorrow, take care. Have a good day.